Hey everybody, so I'm at a mall in KL, Malaysia right now. So the reason I'm here is because Huawei, aka Honor, is having a phone launch event for the Honor Play. So I've been invited here to attend the launch, and I'm also going to be testing the phone later. Pretty excited. I mean, this is pretty hardcore right here. They'll go a machine gun. If this was in the US, this would be pretty scary. Okay, so we're supposed to be heading downstairs right now to attend the Honor launch event, but this guy right here, Aloysius Low, an editor at CNET Singapore, he's been here before and he says, yo, this place has the best tea I've ever had in my life. So now everybody's interested, and then the whole group basically took a detour. Everybody you see here is a journalist, except that lady in the dress. She works for Honor. Even she's coming along for the tea. Okay, thank you.
That sounded a little bit weird. Oh, that's awesome.
So we got our tea now. It's pretty damn good.
It was awesome.
Okay, so the event hasn't started yet. That's where all the big Honor bosses are gonna sit right there. And you know, pretty sizable turnout. I'm pretty sure it's gonna fill up later. You have media and fans, all that. They're waiting to get at the look at the phone, but I actually already have the phone right here. So I have the phone right here. So part of the reason Honor exists is because Huawei wanted a separate brand to appeal to young people, so hence why stuff like this. Okay, so let's get unboxing out of the way really quick. This shouldn't take too long. This is a pretty bare bones packaging. I'm actually seated at a coffee shop right now, just next to the mall, next to the launch event. So here's a device, 6.3-inch display. It feels very good in the hand. I'm gonna put that to the side first. Let's see what's in here. I'm familiar with Honor phones, so the packaging there's not gonna be much. So you see right there, a charging brick and a USB-C cable. So that's about it. So right here is a SIM ejector tool, and then right there I believe is a smartphone case. Yep, it's a soft jelly case for the Honor Play. So now we'll get to my favorite part, which is peeling this off. Oh yeah. Nice looking phone. Alright guys, I'm back. I played with the Honor Play, pun intended, all evening. I took the phone out to dinner with the journalists, the other journalists from like the Nix Web and ZDNet and CNET. We went to buffet at Mandarin Oriental and went out. I'm fat as hell. I ate so much. So the first thing I'm going to do is compare the Honor Play side by side with the Huawei P20 Pro, just to give you guys an idea of the footprint, because both phones have very similar dimensions. So right off the bat, you see that very similar size. The Honor Play is a little bit taller, but this is minimal, like not even 1/4 of an inch. In terms of the riff, meaning from left to right, both phones are almost exactly the same. So now you notice that they're almost the same size, but the Honor Play has a bigger screen, 6.3-inch to the 6.1-inch on the Huawei P20 Pro. The reason for that is because the Honor Play has a smaller bottom bezel. So there is no fingerprint reader on the front of the Honor Play. Instead, it's on the back, whereas the Huawei P20 Pro has a fingerprint reader at the bottom on the front. And if you remember, I didn't like that design. I think fingerprint reader on the front is a little bit outdated, and I definitely like the look and feel of the Honor Play better. I'd rather get a little bit more screen and just have a fingerprint reader on the back. So now that means the Honor Play, it's a very beautiful looking phone from the front. The notch is a little bit bigger than the Huawei P20 Pro's notch. The reason for that we'll get into later. It's because this is a gaming phone, so it has a better speaker. Looking at the back, this is where Honor Play, it's a little bit of a throwback. This year, everybody went with glass backs, right? So Honor stuck with metal. That's just because this is like a mid-tier entry-level phone. This phone sells for about $300 US. That's pretty cheap. I'll get into later why this is a pretty good deal. So metal back. The fingerprint reader, it's a little bit higher than usual though if you look at it, because usually phones with camera like right here, the fingerprint reader would be about right here. So this is a little bit higher than usual. So I hold the phone like this. If you look on the back, it's a little bit like I have to straighten my finger all the way. So let's take a quick look at the software. The Honor Play runs Android 8.1 with EMUI 8.2 on top. So this is EMUI Huawei skin. It's not bad. There is no app tray out of the box, but you are able to bring it up. It's You know, it's no stock Android, but I like it a lot better than, say, Oppo and Vivo's screen. So you see I have navigation buttons down here. I like that there's a button right here to bring down notification shade. So you can bring it down without needing to reach all the way to the top. You can hide the navigation bar. I quite like it. And there's also swiping navigation now, but to be honest, I'm not a big fan of it. So you see right here, it's kind of you tap to go back, you long press to go home, or you swipe up to bring up Google Now, or you swipe left and right on it to bring up recent apps. So the problem with it is, I just think after the iPhone 10, everyone's used to swiping up to go home. Like swiping up to go home, it's going to be the future of every phone. That's how the OnePlus 6 is, and that's how the Xiaomi Mi 8 is. So the fact that the swiping gestures here, you have to long press to go home instead of swiping up, it's really weird. Like I don't think most people will be using this. I'd rather just go back to the navigation button because swiping up to go home is just a lot more natural than long pressing the buttons. So what makes this phone a gaming phone? There's always a gimmick with a gaming phone. The Razer phone has a 120 megahertz screen, which meant animations were like 2 times as smooth as most other phones. Now with the Honor Play, that's not the case. Instead, Honor is focusing on sound, haptic feedback, and also frame rate. So Huawei, aka Honor, they developed this thing called GPU Turbo. It's a software that works hand in hand with the Kirin 970 chipset inside, and together they will optimize graphic performance and improve frame rate. So for example, for PUBG Mobile, Huawei actually teamed up with them, and the game runs a little bit smoother here than it would on the Huawei P20 Pro or even a Snapdragon 845 device. I tested out very briefly, and then it's not just keeping frame rates up, but also battery consumption, it's a little bit better. Now, I've only had this phone for about half a day, so I haven't had much chance to test battery life yet, but it looks pretty damn good. I've used the phone quite extensively. As you can see right here, it's still 67% battery life right now. So battery life seems to be pretty strong. There's a 3050 milliamp battery inside. So the other two areas, the sound and the vibration, it's very minor in my opinion. I mean, I'm not a big gamer, but when I did play the game, I did hear a difference. The speaker on this is definitely louder than on the Huawei P20 Pro. And on PUBG Mobile, which was optimized hand in hand with Huawei, you actually can hear, if someone shoots at you from the left, you hear sound coming from the left. If someone shoots at you from the right, you hear sound coming from the right. Now, it's worth mentioning that game developers have to work with Honor on this to be able to implement this type of feature, the surround sound feature. Otherwise, you're not going to get this in every game. Now, as for the haptic engine, you know, like it's there for the games, but I don't really care about that. I actually care more for typing. You know, haptic engine, it's important to me, and that's one of the reasons why I can't use the OnePlus 6 full time, is because I find the haptics vibration really bad. So this, it's actually pretty good. Like when I type, I actually get a little bit of haptic feedback from the keys. The vibrations very strong. Okay, let's do a quick sound test because this phone has pretty awesome speakers, especially for this $300 price range. So we'll go up to 50% volume. So you have stereo speakers right here. It's from the right side and also front right here at the notch. So this display panel, it's a LCD, not an OLED. So blacks aren't completely deep, but still a very good panel, especially at this $300 price range. So we'll go up to max volume now. So this is a very good speaker. You can still hear sound coming from the left side right now, so you can't quite muffle it that easily. And there's actually a little bit of bass. The sound, it's pretty full. So when you consider the fact that this phone is only about $300 US, this is a really good deal because you have a phone that's really well built, pretty nice, awesome display. And on top of that, this phone actually is almost as powerful as flagship phones. So I ran this phone on Geekbench earlier, and check out the score. 1884 single core and 6554 multi-core. That's really good. Now that's not as good as the Snapdragon 845 phones, but it's almost as good as the Huawei P20 Pro, which runs on the same chipset. But when you consider that Huawei P20 Pro has actually more RAM, then why is it that the Honor Play can keep up so closely, the score? The reason is because of GPU Turbo. This one is GPU Turbo, which boosts performance. So that means you're getting almost equal performance right here between the Huawei P20 Pro and the Honor Play, except this phone is $300, whereas the Huawei P20 Pro, when it first came out, it was $900, and even now it's probably $700 to $800. So $700 versus $300. And, Geekbench, the Honor Play can't beat a Snapdragon 845 chipset, but I actually ran Antutu benchmarks too compared to the LG G7, which runs Snapdragon 845. And the Honor Play beats the LG G7 in Antutu benchmark. Again, that's because of the GPU, which boosts performance. It's like a turbocharge for the phone, like NOS. You know how when you watch Fast and Furious, Vin Diesel will press the button to turn on NOS, and it will turn what should be a crappy car into one that's turbocharged and is able to beat these kind of more expensive cars, and that's what's happening here. Honor is turbocharging this phone so it can temporarily, in gaming anyway, boost its performance to match or surpass that of the LG G7 or the Huawei P20 Pro. So now the only downfall of this phone is the camera. And let me get this straight. The camera, it's not bad at all. The camera app, it's pretty fun to use. Please watch my Honor 10 video if you want to learn more. I'll probably do a more in-depth video hands-on of this later on in like a week or two, but I have a lot of stuff to do, so I don't know if I'll get to it. But the camera, it's not bad for a $300 phone. But when you compare this to the Huawei P20 Pro's camera or the iPhone X's camera, then obviously it can't compare. But that's really stupid to compare the cameras of this phone to the cameras of a flagship phone, right? So overall, if you just look at the pictures in a vacuum, meaning if you just look at the photos by itself, it's pretty decent, above average. The shutter speed is fast, colors are pretty accurate, and you get pretty good details for a $300 phone. But then when you compare it side by side with a Huawei P20 Pro, especially in low light situation, that's when you see the difference. So I'll show you an example really quick. So this is in KL, outside the Petronas Towers. KL is basically the most famous landmark. So this is a pretty decent shot, pretty good shot actually for a $300 phone. But then you check out the same phone shot with the Huawei P20 Pro. And yeah, it's night and day. The Huawei P20 Pro has a lot more details, a lot more well balanced. On a Play, it's overexposed and it's a lot noisier compared to the Huawei P20 Pro. But again, not a fair comparison, right? This phone is like $900. This phone's $300. So if you compare the Honor Play against other $300 phones, the camera is strong. But for someone like me who has access to all these flagship phones, then I have to nitpick a little bit. So everything about this phone is top notch except the camera. This is not a camera I would be happy with if I use it full time. Now, if you do a little bit of tweaking, so I shot this with manual controls, I dialed down the ISO, and now I'm able to get a little bit better image. It's a little bit less overexposed and a little bit less noisy. I might do another video on this later on, like a full review, but like I said, I have a lot of stuff lined up, and I think Honor has another phone coming out at IFA in Berlin, and I'm going to be there, so I will be testing another Honor phone in about 2 weeks. These Chinese companies are crazy, man. They just have phones coming out like every other week. Anyway, Honor Play, $300, good deal, gaming phone. Thanks for watching.